A few years ago, making animated horror videos like this required an entire team. Animators, editors, sound designers, voice actors. Now, one person with AI can create the same style in minutes. And the craziest part is, channels doing this are pulling millions of views with barely over 100 uploads. Some are fully monetized, targeting USA audiences, and quietly making massive income from simple horror animations. But what happens when AI can clone an entire animation workflow almost instantly? That's where things start getting seriously insane. The video you just watched was created in almost no time, using only one AI tool. No Blender, no advanced animation skills, no expensive production setup. Just AI handling the storyboard, visuals, narration, music, animation, and editing almost automatically. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how creators are using tools like these to clone viral animation channels, produce cinematic horror content at insane speed, and upload consistently without needing a full production team. Because once you see how this workflow actually works, you'll understand why AI animation channels are exploding right now. So guys, the first thing you need to understand is that channels like these are not growing because of complicated storytelling. They're growing because of atmosphere, dark visuals, creepy narration, simple animation, constant suspense. That's the formula. And honestly, that's why this niche works so well for AI. Because AI is now extremely good at generating cinematic visuals, horror-style environments, eerie sound design, and emotional narration without needing a full animation pipeline. Now the tool we're using for this is called Flova. And this platform is honestly different from most AI tools people usually test online. Because instead of giving you one small feature, it combines almost the entire production process into one system. Images, video scenes, storyboards, narration, music, editing. Everything happens inside a single workflow. And that changes everything for beginners. Because normally, creators waste most of their time switching between different tools, trying to connect everything manually. One app for images, another for animation, another for voiceovers, another for editing. But here, the AI agent handles most of that automatically. Now once you open Flova AI, the first thing you'll notice is the AI workspace. And instead of complicated controls everywhere, it feels more like chatting with a creative assistant. You simply tell it what you want. That's it. You don't need technical language or perfect prompts. You can literally type normal instructions like create a horror animation about a haunted child hearing whispers in the walls. And instantly, the AI starts building a creative brief around your idea. This is where things become powerful. Because the system doesn't just generate random outputs, it starts organizing your project structure automatically. Story pacing, voiceover flow, scene direction, visual tone, even emotional atmosphere. And honestly, this is why AI workflows are becoming so dangerous for traditional production systems. Because what used to require multiple skilled people can now be handled through conversation. Now below the workspace, you'll notice several different model options available. Image generation models, video generation models, narration systems, music generators. For images, you can select high-quality models like Nano Banana 2. For video generation, powerful cinematic models like Vio 3.1 are available. For narration, systems like 11 Labs create realistic voiceovers. And for music, tools like Suno generate cinematic background tracks automatically. So instead of manually searching for assets online, the AI builds almost everything from scratch. Now the next section is where the real automation starts happening. Skills. Inside this section, you'll see multiple generation modes like animation workflows, cinematic storytelling systems, and storyboard generation. For this style of content, storyboard mode is the most important because this is where the AI begins turning your idea into an actual structured video plan. And honestly, the speed feels unreal the first time you watch it happen. The AI asks one simple question. What is your video about? You type your idea, and within seconds, the system generates a creative brief, narration structure, scene flow, visual pacing, story progression, automatically. That means before you even start generating visuals, the AI already understands the emotional direction of your video. And this is exactly why horror animation works so well with AI systems. Because horror depends heavily on pacing and atmosphere rather than complicated action sequences. Now after that, you can customize your project settings. Things like video duration, target audience, language, style, content format. And then you choose the type of storytelling structure you want: voiceover driven, character driven, or hybrid storytelling. For horror content, voiceover driven videos usually work best because the narration creates suspense while the visuals support the atmosphere. Once everything is confirmed, the AI begins generating the storyboard automatically. And this is honestly one of the craziest parts of the entire workflow, because scene after scene starts appearing almost instantly. Dark hallways, creepy shadows, broken windows, distorted lighting, characters with cinematic framing. The AI builds the entire visual direction for you. And if something doesn't look right, you simply regenerate it. Hover over the image, click, regenerate, done. Within seconds, you get a completely new variation without restarting the whole project. And this is where AI completely changes creative workflows, because experimentation suddenly becomes effortless. Now, once the storyboard looks good, the next step is animation. And this is where most people expect the complicated part to begin. But honestly, this might be the easiest stage of the entire process. Because instead of manually animating scenes frame by frame like traditional software, you simply tell the AI agent something like, "Animate the full sequence." That's it. The system automatically starts converting every storyboard image into moving cinematic scenes. Camera movement gets added. Atmosphere starts building. Characters begin moving naturally. Lighting effects appear. Shadows shift across the environment. And within minutes, your static storyboard starts looking like an actual animated film. That's the moment when most people realize how far AI video generation has already come. Because this no longer feels like low-quality experimental content. It genuinely starts looking close to professionally produced animation. Now after the visuals are finished, the AI handles the next major part automatically: narration and music. And honestly, this changes everything for faceless channels. Because normally, creators struggle with voiceovers, sound design, pacing, and emotional atmosphere. But here, you simply type, "Generate narration and background music." And the AI creates both automatically. The voiceover sounds cinematic, the music matches the mood, the pacing feels intentional. And if something sounds off, you regenerate it instantly. No expensive voice actors, no music licensing headaches, no complicated editing timelines. Everything happens inside one workflow. Then comes the final stage, assembling the full film. Now the AI combines every scene, every transition, every voiceover layer, every sound effect, and every music track into one complete timeline automatically. And honestly, this is where the workflow becomes almost unfair compared to traditional production. Because what used to take multiple people several hours, sometimes even days, can now happen in a fraction of the time. And the craziest part, you still have full control. If a scene looks wrong, regenerate it. If pacing feels slow, adjust it. If a clip needs replacement, swap it instantly. The editing process becomes incredibly flexible instead of stressful. But one of the most insane features inside Flova AI is something called branching. And this completely changes how experimentation works. Normally, editing is risky. If you make major changes, you can accidentally ruin previous progress. But branching lets you create alternate creative directions without touching your original project. So you can test multiple versions of scenes, characters, or entire visual styles without destroying your existing workflow. That's incredibly powerful for creators trying to improve retention and storytelling quality. Now remember the recreation feature we talked about earlier? This is where things become even crazier, because Flova AI can actually analyze reference videos and rebuild similar cinematic structures automatically. You upload a video, the AI studies visual pacing, character design, scene flow, animation structure, overall style. Then it creates a new production pipeline around that reference. And honestly, if you tried doing this manually with traditional animation software, it would take an insane amount of time. But AI compresses the entire workflow dramatically. That's why channels in niches like horror animation, storytelling, fantasy, anime edits, and cinematic shorts are growing so aggressively right now. Because speed matters. The faster creators can produce high-quality content, the faster they can scale channels. And now, one person can suddenly do the work that previously needed an entire team. That changes the entire creator economy. You no longer need advanced animation skills. You no longer need expensive software. You no longer need a giant production budget. You just need strong ideas and the right AI workflow.